It is game week officially. Go Bucks. Got a big win today. Change of scenery for the last live streams. We are in the 8430 running the disc today. So just finishing up some end rows here, and then we got a little more to do on the other side of this field. Trying to cover as much ground as possible. Conditions are iffy. Let's say iffy. They're not terrible. The disc is doing a decent job. However, it can't be much wetter. It's still dry down deeper in the profile, but we're not getting down that deep with the disc to get into that. And the top 2 inches, 3 inches maybe, is we've had enough rain in the last 2 weeks that it's a little bit gooey, but it's still throwing loose dirt and chopping stalks up, breaking stuff down really good. So I'm happy with the job that we're doing, and we just got to get it done. There's more rain predicted for Monday, and there's a pretty good chance we should be able to finish the disking tomorrow. So I'll see how far I make it tonight, but that's the goal, be done tomorrow. Anyway, I assume you guys can all hear me okay. I didn't ask today. Just about back up to where I can hit the auto steer button and read some questions. We are in the 100-acre field that we ran with the X9 combine. So the stalks look a little different because the snap and rolls on the corn head were different than what we had. There was no stalk stompers. All of that stuff all makes a difference in how it looks out here. But yeah, so 100-acre field, we're about 85 acres into it. And we got to get from here to those trees. All right, what do we got? Michigan going to win today. I mean, I would love to say no, but it's Northwestern, and it's hard to lose to Northwestern. So, pretty embarrassing if they do. Still shelling in Sandusky. Get her done, man. It's not late yet, but Thanksgiving's next week, so getting close. Hello. Doing well today. We were covering ground. How do you guys like the new Volvo? It's an awesome truck. I have driven it some, not a ton, but it's comfortable. The I-shift transmission is great. It's got plenty of power. It's not a Kenworth or Peterbilt cool truck, right? But it's a really well-spec'd, nice farm truck for what we need. It's a function over form kind of thing for us, so really like it. It's awesome. No-till farmers going to be mad at me working ground along with the organic farmers. Yep. Now the organic guys are generally pretty pro-tillage because it's pretty tough to farm organic no-till. A couple guys that do it, but it's pretty hard. All the fertilizer and lime you spread this year, have you always just had it custom applied in the past? Did you apply more this year having the spreader available? No. Yes and no, right? So, yeah, we've always had that custom done in the past. We've had our retailers do our fertilizer spreading. And I wouldn't say that we spread any, well, actually we probably spread less commercial fertilizer this year because we spread more chicken litter. So we actually would have done more in the past. That said, there was, that last field or two that I did where we had a little bit of extra potash because I brought it in 50-ton loads where, before if I was buying it from a retailer and having them spread it, if I needed 30 tons instead of 50, they would have brought me 30 tons and I wouldn't have had that extra. So we spread a little more because of that, but no, we've always spread fertilizer and pretty much done it that way. We just hired it done before, so yeah. Where are your co-pilots? Their cousin and uncle are home on Mama's side today, so they're hanging out with family. I was down there last night for Thanksgiving dinner, but today's a tillage day. Ripper and Berkey now. Nope, not today. Dad was finishing up on that corn stalks this morning. He blew a hydraulic hose, which I assume he has gotten fixed. And it is possible that he's gotten that done and driven by the field here because he needs to go that way to get back to the farm, but I have not seen him go by. But I was watching football for the last 3 hours, so I don't know if I would have seen him go by. But he had about 20 acres or so to finish up in the wheat field across the road from the farm there where we got rained out the other day. Probably just going to get done here today, and then we should get it moved tomorrow, I guess. But then it's going to rain on Monday, so I don't know how. It might take us a while to finish down there, just because we gotta work when the conditions are decent. How did Anna do with learning to drive the combine? Should make some interesting talk around the Thanksgiving Day table. Yeah, well, she didn't really come to learn how to drive the combine. She came and rode around for a while in the grain cart the one day, and then she rode with Dad in the combine that day for a while, but didn't actually do any equipment operation. She's not coming back to the farm. She's got a full-time gig right now that's really good for her, and she's doing well. So maybe we'll see her next week sometime, and I'll let her tell you. You can see it here. You're just fine. Good. Thanks, Al. If we miss the rain Monday, should or done on or before Thanksgiving. Good. Yeah. Well, we'll be done with the tillage before Thanksgiving if we miss the rain next week too. So. Hello from France. Hello. This disc is a Landau or not? It is a Landau. Technically, it's not a disc, or at least they don't call it a disc. They call it a vertical tillage tool. Looks an awful lot like a disc to me, but yeah, Landau 7431. Mapped app will come down by spring. I have no idea. It's really high right now, and it is kind of the inflated fertilizer. Whether it comes down by spring or not is iffy, debatable. I have no idea. I'm sure there'll be some movement up and down. It's gone up a little bit since what I bought mine at earlier in the fall, from what I understand. Yeah, I'm not real worried about that because we don't spring apply any dry fertilizer, usually. But I am worried about 1034.0 and phosphate prices in general, starter prices, so hopefully things come down some. This tractor 8430, yes. 8430. Running a 2630 monitor, which I have not run one of those for all fall. Everything else has been Gen 4 or the G5 display, and yeah, it's fine. It works fine. Needs to be updated though. 1006 in Europe. 1006 in part of Europe anyway, yeah. It's not farming anymore. He doesn't even need to steer the tractor. Dude, we haven't needed to steer the tractor in 15 years. If you're going to say that's not farming, then I don't know what to tell you, but that's old technology. Hello from Illinois. What's the news on the Berkey bin system? The 2-bin idea going to work like you were hoping? I think so. We finally just yesterday or the day before got our quotes back from when we had that meeting down there. So we need to sit down, as the three of us, and discuss it a little bit and decide whether we're going to pull the trigger or not. But I would say it's likely. We are waiting on a concrete quote yet back, but that probably isn't going to make or break the project. The bigger issue is we got to get all the old ones out of there and then put the new ones up. And yeah, it's going to be a big project. I mean, it is a big project, but it's really not. Grand scheme of grain system stuff, it's not. So the good news is deciding on it now and getting our place in line. It should be done well before harvest. A buddy of mine, I saw just this morning, they finally are able to start filling big bin that they put up this year. Put up 100,000 bushel bin and put the first corn in it today. It is November 23rd. We've been done with harvest for 3 weeks now, and they're just getting to the point where they can fill their 100,000 bushel bin. That'd be a problem. So hopefully we'll be done well before that. Gonna be fun watching Oregon versus Ohio State rematch. Is doing well. Yeah. Yeah, it should be. I mean, neutral site game. Ohio State didn't play their best in that first one, but Oregon's a dang good team, so it should be good. Howdy. Hello. Not all parts of Europe are in Central European time. Yeah, that's what I figured. Parts of Europe, not all. Anyway. What else you guys got? Disc is doing a good job. We're really knocking the stalks down, moving some dirt. Now that we've got moisture in the soil, we can actually move some dirt, pin the stalks down, and bury them. There was a good portion of the fall that we kind of sat, did not do any disking of stalks because we thought it was too dry. Where we were going to cut the stalks up and everything was just going to be left laying on top and have no dirt on it, where then we get a windstorm and it all blows away. We saw lots of fields that happened to this fall, so we kind of waited, and now we've got plenty of moisture and we're burying it really good, but it's actually almost a little bit too much where it's just a little muddy. But it's going to get worse, not better, so we're getting it done. There goes Phil down the road, like coming from the field where Dad was. That would make me think that either they were going up to get Dad's truck and he's done, or he had more trouble. Something. Anyway, Brock ever show up? No, I haven't seen Brock all week. He never texted me and said he was coming or asked me if I wanted him to, so I don't know. I don't know what he's got going on. It's not a big deal. I mean, we got things that need to be done. It would be nice to have some help with, but whatever. It'll be fine. OHIO, also in Ohio. Oh, gotcha. Also in Ohio. I read he is there. I'm like, what? Okay. OH. It's gonna be a boring one if you guys don't ask questions. Much different than the last one, right? You guys remember the day we shelled the corn out here? Oh, that was an awesome day. This is a field we ran the X9 in. 16-row corn head. You see how the stalks are all still... Oh, you can't because of my hand in the way. Focus. The stalks are all standing up a little bit more upright. We had no stalk stompers on that head. But it did have some chopping stalk rolls, not Stalkmaster. It didn't have choppers, but it had chopping rolls. And it really chewed the top of the stalks up. There's some mold and decay starting on them, so interesting to watch. Oh yeah, I had this trouble before where you guys ask questions and it filters them out. Is it doing that again? It is. Gosh dang it. Come on, YouTube, get this fixed. Alright, where are we at? Right there. Okay, when's the new Hagee coming? We don't have a Hagee coming. Have not bought a Hagee. Not really at the top of the list anymore. Been thinking about it, but haven't. Why I land all over the John Deere 2660 VT? Well, John Deere didn't make a 2660 VT when we bought this. I don't even know if they're 2630 or 2360 or whatever their previous VT model was out at that time, and that one was not a very good tillage tool from what I understand. At the time we bought this, which was back in like 2011-12 time frame, this was very popular, at least in our area. They were super common. Still are. There's a lot of guys that run these tools. We like the job that they do. This was kind of what else did people a lot of people were using a Great Plains, like a turbo till or the 330 case disc, and they don't move as much dirt, didn't bury stuff and level ruts out as much, which is what we were concerned about. And I mean, we had an actual disc before this, like a real John Deere disc. Sharp gang angles, big concavity, moved a lot of material. And so we wanted something that was going to move some dirt to be comparable. It was the concern at the time. Now, I don't know if that's as big a deal as we've made it out to be, but this does a pretty good job. Now, we've had our issues with this Landau disc, gang bearings, wheel bearings, wheel hubs, all that kind of stuff. But it's running pretty good, so I would love to try a 2660. I think those are pretty good tools. I like the adjustability on them that this does not have, but that wasn't a thing when we bought this. And I think they're pretty nice tools. Would do a better job staying aggressive in the fall and then a little bit less aggressive in the spring. But they're also like $150,000, and that's outrageous. So I don't know if that's the top of our list. Where are corn, soybean prices going with the new administration in Washington? There's not a lot of downward potential, I don't think. They can't really go down a ton, so we'll see. But I have no reason for them to go up. The government matters, but I don't think they have as much direct control over commodity prices as people think. The bigger thing is the economy in general and the value of the dollar, and I mean, there is some trade relations stuff in there, but there's a lot more to it than just the president says corn's cheap today. Nah, that's not how it works. Do you consider deep tillage to improve compaction on your headlands? We do that on every single field that gets planted to corn. Like, we run our 2730 disc ripper through all of the bean stubble and wheat stubble going to corn. That's deep tillage. That improves compaction. That's why we do it. I get this question sometimes, and it kind of frustrates me a little bit because I'm like, do you guys not see that we're doing that? Or I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah, we do. A few videos ago, you mentioned we're working on building your K levels. Yes. Do you aim for a certain part per million or base saturation? I've been raising ours at home here, Forest North. Yields are better than ever. Yeah, I care more about base saturation on potassium levels than I do parts per million. Anything under 150 parts per million, though, is way too low. You got to get that up. Once you're above that level, or even 200 plus, your ppms aren't too bad. But what I would really love to see is a 4% base saturation. That's really hard to do when you have high CECs. It's really expensive. It takes a lot of potash to get there. So we don't have very much that is. We have a few spots that are, but that's kind of what I would be long-term working towards, is building our base saturation up to around 4%. 3.5 plus is good. We have some that are 2 to 2.5, and they got a long ways to go. If you had a shirt that says it'll be fine, I'd buy it. Okay. I say that a lot, don't I? The hood is narrow compared to the 8RX. It's a different shape than the 8RX. I don't know if it's a lot narrower than the 8RX. The tires are skinny, which, of course, the 8RX has the track set out wide. That makes it look different. It's much narrower than the 9R, I can tell you that. Looks moist. It's a touch moist. It's not horrible, but it is a touch moist. How's the 8430 running these days? Pretty good. This is the first day I've spent in it this fall, so I really hadn't gotten a chance to run it much. Back in the spring, we were having some overheating issues, so I've been watching the temperature, and you can see all the stuff getting sucked out of the vents in the hood there. That's the air intake. The radiator's on the front. It's got some corn leaves on it, too. But it's hovering right at 200. It's not really running that hot. 180 to 190 would be better than 200 to 205, but I'm not real concerned about it. It's not overheating. It's not telling me it's hot. So that's good. We had some trouble with it this spring, but it turns out it was just a radiator issue and needed flushed really badly. Like, it was packed pretty full of dirt. I don't know how we had missed that one. Or a 2680 HD. Yeah, so back to the tillage tool discussion, right? Again, those weren't a thing when we bought this. And we don't just trade all the time to trade, because money. That said, I'm not a super big fan of those compact high-speed discs, the 2680s or the like from lots of different manufacturers. I don't know. I've never run one, but I have dug behind one at a field day once, and I wasn't real impressed with how it left the soil. Not the top, the surface looked good, but down underneath where the blades had run and kind of the hard pan layer was really wavy and uneven, and I didn't think it looked that great. So I think the 2660 is probably a better tool than the 2680. But that's with no experience driving either one of them. So I don't know. Someday we'll upgrade this Landau, but for now it's still working. Is there a number of acres y'all are looking to increase your holding rentals to, or is it just if it's a good local deal comes along, you take it? Yeah, well, I've said this before, but we're haven't been for a while, really in any kind of an expansion mode. Now, if a retiring farmer or a neighborhood landlord came to us and said, hey, we like the way you farm, we would like to rent you our farm, and they were reasonable about it and wanted to build a long-term relationship, absolutely, we're going to talk, and we'll probably do some of that, or would do that. But like there was a farmer that retired not too far from here. This year was his last year, and had a bunch of ground rented from somebody that owned 300 or 400 acres, and I got asked lots of times if we were going to bid on it, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. First of all, we're not looking to increase by 300 or 400 acres. Second of all, I don't get in bidding wars. I refuse to be the one or participate in bidding up rents in the neighborhood. I mean, we pay good rent to our landlords. I think we pay more than fair. We raise things when needed, and even before that pressure gets applied, I guess. But I'm not going out paying $350 an acre for rent just so I can say I farm more ground. There's no money in that. We don't make anything. It's pointless. I'm not going out paying $250 for junk ground that needs tile. Like, we're just not doing it. And there might be some people around that are. I hear some crazy numbers for rent in our neighborhood sometimes, and it just makes me go, what are you guys thinking? But apparently they make it work. I don't know. I also hear a lot of people paying sub-$100 rent sometimes, and I'm like, how do you get away with that? I don't understand, but they do. So no, there's no number that we're looking to get to. We're appropriately sized for our labor and equipment that we have at the moment. We have the equipment to cover more ground if we pick something up and wanted to, but I have no desire to pick up 1,000 acres, really. I'd have to hire somebody more full-time if we were going to do that. But I don't really want to get smaller either. There was a point, probably 10 years ago or 15 years ago, where I always thought the goal was to be big enough to drive nicer, newer equipment, but not so big that I can't do it myself. I don't want to have to hire everything done and just run it from an office. I want to be the operator. I don't know what that number is. I mean, we do pretty good. All of our equipment is not brand new by any means. Hence the fact that I'm driving a 15-year-old tractor with 6,000 hours on it right now. But for the most part, we've got pretty nice equipment. We're in that ballpark. I always kind of thought 4,000 acres was a good number. We're not quite there. There was a point in time 5 to 10 years ago when we were closer to 3,700 or 3,800 acres than a little over 3 that we are now. It was fine, but we don't need it. Doing some more little unders there, so lots of turning. It's easier for me to just keep talking than to read the next question. All right. Do you have any cool trials you have planned for next year's crops? I haven't got into trial planning for next year just yet. I have had a couple of companies reach out to me asking me to trial some of their stuff. One of them is that Source that we have been doing some of. We'll probably do some more trials of that next year, whether they're formal trials for the company or just trials for me. They have a new product out this year. It's called Blueprint. It's a biological mycorrhizal fungi. I don't know how I feel about this, but I will probably test it on a small number of acres. The Heads Up is a seed treatment that I've been using on soybeans. And they've kind of asked me to do some more formal trialing work for them. Testimonial stuff. They like the idea of being on YouTube, I think. And if they're willing to pay for it, well, we might do some testing on Heads Up, which I should probably do some more actual good research on anyway, because while I think that product works and has performed for me, I have never done real great side-by-sides and trialing work with it. So I'm sure there'll be more stuff, but I don't have anything really lined up at the moment. Please do an in-depth video of your trials varieties when you get a chance. So I love your channel so much. Really love how you share all that with us. Yeah, I will. It's probably a winter video sometime, or December video when things are slow. And I get a chance to sit down and go through that stuff. The thing is, I make that video about every year, and it's usually one of my poorest performing, so I will see. Seems like 2012 was a big year for you guys. New combine, new bins, new tractors. Yeah, we didn't get a combine in 2012. That was in 14, we bought the 680. But we did buy the 8R in 2012. We did a major grain bin project down to Berkey that year. And when I say 2012, some of that is from the 2011 crop, some of it was from the 2012 crop. I know 2012 was a tough year for a lot of farmers because it was dry, but we had respectable yields that year. I mean, they weren't record-breaking by any means, but they weren't as bad as a lot of people's, and grain prices were really high. It was one of our most profitable years. So we were able to do a little more. Good evening. Your next tillage tractor update going to be an autonomous enabled Deere? That's a great question, and probably depends on how long it is before we make that update. If we do it in the next year or two, probably not. If we wait 3, 4, 5 years, there's a pretty high possibility of that. I could see it. I could absolutely see buying a autonomous 9R, which they don't even have yet, or do they? You hear rumors, but they haven't officially announced anything on autonomous 9Rs. And I think that would be a great fit. You could put that 2730 Ripper behind a autonomous tractor and let it go to town. Yeah, we can make that work, and that would fit our operation really well. I think I remember you said the combine came at 14. Yeah, 14. Money wasn't an object, what would be a big change to your operation farm you would do? Oh, well, if money wasn't an object, I mean, the first thing you do is buy land, so you own all your ground that you're farming instead of renting it. Second thing you do is upgrade some equipment just for the fun of it. And then we start investing into inputs like fertilizer. You remember that 4% base saturation we were trying to get to on potash or potassium? Oh, we get there real fast if we can just apply 500 pounds to the acre or more on everything and start pumping in fertilizer in and seeing what's possible. I would probably put up a bunch of pivots and have it heavy on the irrigation, but yeah, now we're spending $10 million in a hurry, so probably not going to happen for a while. I highly doubt you need a ripper that goes 22 inches deep, nor could you pull it there, but all right. Are you going to spread sulfur? I got a bad sulfur deficiency. Well, we did that with the gypsum, right? So gypsum is calcium sulfate. That was why we spread that. I might in the spring do a little bit of AMS urea blends to replace some of my nitrogen needs, but we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, we use a lot of liquid sulfur. ATS. Or Hoosiers, thanks. Yeah, they'll be okay. Why are you turning? I can't. Why are you turning the tractor by hand when you have turn automation? Well, first of all, I'm running a 2630, and I could use the iTech Pro demo that's on there and do that. But why? What's the point? What does that gain me? Plus, I'm not making single pass turns. We're skip passing and going back and forth, skip and fill, and it's too hard to get it set up. It's not worth it. Just have a cab. Yeah, you'll be all right. We consider deep at 15 inches. Okay, so going back to that deep tillage question. I can't pull anything through my ground 15 inches deep. I mean, I suppose if I got like a inline straight leg ripper, 4-shank or something, maybe, but I can't pull my 2730 that deep. I don't need to go that deep. That's not a, no, we're not going to do that. We don't need that. What time is it now? It's 4:31 and Michigan still sucks. OH. Alright. Now we got that out of the way. Now that you've been in your house for a while, how's everything working out? Are the floor finishes holding up? Anything you do differently? Yeah. So we're just about 3 years in, is that right? Yeah, just about 3 years. It'll be 3 years in February since we moved in. The floor finish that I put on, and if you guys go back or you remember that, Dad and I did the hardwood flooring ourselves, like cut the trees down, sawmilled the boards, planed them, dried them, tongue and grooved them, all that stuff. Dad did most of it. Him and I laid it together, and I did all the finish work. And they're beautiful white oak floors. I used a stain, and then we used a floor finish from, I'm trying to remember what the brand was now. Crap. It'll come to me, but it was a professional grade floor finish, like designed for it, 2-part epoxy type, and it has held up really, really well. There's no scratches, there's no scuffs, there's no peeling, no nothing. It's beautiful. Dad, when he did some hardwood flooring in his house several years prior, had used I got off the shelf from Menards. I don't know, it was a Minwax or somebody's floor sealer product, and it has a lot more scuffs, and just it hasn't held up quite as well as mine has, and so I'm really happy with that. Bona floor finish, Traffic HD, I think is what we used. Yeah, it's been really good. So as far as the house in general, I have one mistake that I made in design. In one of my kids' bedrooms that has its own bathroom attached to it, I made the bathroom door swing into the bathroom, and it blocks the closet door. So you walk into the bathroom, and then you have to close the bathroom door in order to get into the walk-in closet. I should have made that bedroom or that bathroom door open into the bedroom, out from the bathroom instead of into it. So, you know, I suppose that could be fixed. It would require pulling all the trim and doing some work, and we haven't gotten there yet, but that was my major design flaw, and from there I think I did okay, if that's the big one, right? So other than that, yeah, we really like the house. We did a good job. I'm happy with the layout, the design. Back porch could be a little bit bigger. Wish we would have made that a little bigger, but at some point we'll get to pouring a patio or doing some stuff in the backyard. Make that nicer. It's been one step at a time the whole time since we built, right? Like last summer we did. Last summer, yeah, we did the garage approach. Maybe I'm trying to remember now. Maybe we're only going into 2 years since we've been moved in. It's end of February, I know that. It's 2024. Was it 22 or 21 when we moved in? Maybe it was 22 when we moved in. It's only been 2 years. Anyway, we did the garage approach and the sidewalk to the front steps last year. And this year finished the driveway and got all the front landscaping and stuff done, and got some grass seeded along the driveway and trying to get that done. Next year we'll put a little more focus into the backyard, back porch, that kind of stuff. Maybe get some more trees planted. Probably could still plant trees. Maybe I should do that this fall yet. I don't know. Several autonomous Magnum cases running up in Holland on the flower farms. Well, that's a special retrofit thing then, because Case doesn't make autonomous tractors, or not anything that's commercially available. But I'm sure that there are people that have done it. I just got a Snapchat from my buddy that started filling the bin today. I wonder if he's watching my video and sending me messages. Have you ever tried AMS or urea on soybeans or double inoculated? I enjoy your agronomy videos. Yes, kind of. Not urea on beans, and not really AMS either. What I have done is some ATS, the liquid version of ammonium, or ammonium thiosulfate for the sulfur on beans. When I plant some in 30-inch rows, I'll occasionally do that with starter on the corn planter to give the beans some sulfur. I've thought that's worked pretty well. I don't know about urea. I don't know if we need that urea. I can see adding some nitrogen somehow, but I think you got to do it late season. And irrigation pass is the best way I can figure out how to do that. And then double inoculated, yes. I really like double inoculating beans. So I run inoculant on almost all of our beans and a lot of my customers' beans through the seed treater, liquid applied with the seed treatment. I think that works really well. But I've also, the last couple of years, been experimenting with using a talc replacer that has an inoculant in it on beans. And I think that has helped out tremendously as well. So, yeah, that is something I've done and I like doing. The problem is they're awfully darn expensive compared to talc. But I don't like using talc on beans that have inoculant on them. And when I'm putting the liquid inoculant on with the treater, I'm trying to find something other than talc to use as a lubricant to get them to move through the planter. So we'll see. You're headed to the farm show in Louisville in February. I haven't talked about that one yet. Maybe, but I don't know. I was hoping to be going to Denver to Commodity Classic in the end of February, or into March, first week of March. I don't know if that's going to happen now or not. I likely did not win my way there through my yield contest, so I'll have to pay for it myself if I want to go, and I don't know if I'm willing to do that. We'll find that out in about 2 or 3 weeks when some of the yield contest results get released, and then make a plan from there about Louisville in February. I would like to go down. Did we go last year? I don't think I went last year. It was 2 years ago I went, so yeah, should take Brock again. It's been talked about, new bean planter, any more thought to this for this coming year? It's been thought about, but we haven't really talked about it much. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now until we get a little better idea of financial position for the year. Cheap grain prices don't help anything. And so we got to take inventory of the grain in the bins and do some cash flow projections. We're probably in good shape tax-wise for where we want to be through the end of the year, so it's likely that any more equipment upgrades won't come until after the first of the year, or basically. So we'll see, but yeah, it's still something I would like to do. I don't know if it will happen, or I don't know if it's our biggest need. I don't know if it makes the most sense. Especially with some of the other projects that we're thinking about with like grain system and fertilizer storage barns. So we will see. Topic of turn automation. If you threw a few bags of seed on the seed of the 8RX and told it to plant the field, would it do it? Probably, but I don't trust it. You'd have to do the end rows first and have everything ready to go. I don't know that I would do it. All right. How's the golf cart holding up? Haven't really used it much. It's cold out now. Probably won't get used much till spring. And it's been wet, and it's hunting season. I don't want to go into mud with it, and I don't want to go into woods while there's people out there trying to shoot things. How's your moisture situation? So technically we are still in a drought. If you look at the U.S. drought monitor, we're still in a moderate drought long term. And we are. It's very dry underneath, but the top 2 or 3 inches now is soaked up pretty good, and we're borderline on whether it's dry enough to be out here. So we're doing it, and we're doing a decent job. I'd like it to be a little bit drier, but I'd also like this to be done. So we're getting it done. Go Buckeyes. Perfect time to be planting more trees. I figured it probably was. If that's the only mistake you made, then that's great. Yeah. Making it too small. Yeah, well, you do what you can when you're building, right? Or planning stuff. And knowing what I know now about our finances and stuff, we could have probably done a few more things or made things a little bigger. Really, we had an initial plan and we shrunk it to make the budgets work. And knowing what housing costs and home building costs have done since we built, we maybe could have done a little bit more, but we're good. We're good. It's not a problem. When I built that house, I remember saying, I'm sure I said it in a video, that it was the worst time in history to build a house, or most expensive time in history to build a house, and it was. But our house would cost us another $150,000 to build it today, I bet. At least. Like, things have just gone up so much. Plus, then the interest rates are way higher than what ours is on a mortgage. So I'm glad we did it when we did. I'm glad we did not wait. And we got a really nice house. Sense. I don't know why I was thinking it was free. Bought a couple RX shirts today. Thanks for the discount code. Can't wait to see it on my grandson. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated for that. For the rest of you, if you need some Borderview Farms apparel, head over to farmfocus.com. You can go to borderviewfarms.com. You can go to a link in the description of most of my videos. I don't know about the live stream. And click on it from there. All of it is 20% off through tomorrow, the 24th. So if you want something, go get that today or tomorrow. Get it ordered, and you can get something for a little bit of a discount. 20% off is a pretty good deal. So thank you. Thank you for that. Very much appreciated. I need to place an order myself. I need to replace a few. Plus, I don't have any of the tall sized shirts yet. Those have just been released in the last couple of months. And I'm a pretty tall guy. I could use some tall t-shirts instead of the normal ones. Might fit me a little bit nicer. Not that the other ones don't, but whenever I set up a GoPro and you guys can see my back when I bend over, you can see a lot of skin, and we got to fix that. Tall t-shirts would help. It's almost shop work season. There's going to be a lot of GoPro footage. Alright, we're right down to the last little bit of my wedge here. A lot of hand driving, so it's going to get a little difficult, but that's alright. Do you recall what the talc replacer is called? We left some yield on the table. I feel with not double knot cuttings. 74 in virgin bean. That's pretty good. Not much on the table. I use a product called GrowPack AI. Used to be GrowPack SB for soybeans. They changed the formulation on me last year. Now it's called GrowPack AI. It's from Ag Explorer. I haven't gotten great results with all of their foliar products or anybody's foliar products. Got nothing to do with them as a company. It just the foliar stuff hasn't paid, but the talc replacer has. So yeah, that Grow Pack AI is the one that I've been using and really like. Graphex is another one. There's a few different options. So technically, I'm still a dealer for Ag Explorer. So if you're relatively close, I can order some for you if you're looking. Send me an email. Doesn't that glitter you put on the beans act like talc? Kind of, but not really. I wouldn't replace talc with the glitter, and I rarely use the glitter. I only put that on for customers that I think might want it or would I need the beans to look pretty, and never if I am using inoculant. I don't think that glitter is any good on the inoculant for the same reasons the talc is not. So I bought a bunch of that stuff 2 years ago to use, and I still have like 4 boxes of it left. I just haven't used it because it hasn't been. I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. I did, however, yesterday in my little shopping trip, buy some filters and a fan. We're gonna make an air filter. We're gonna make an air filter. I looked online. You can buy some units pretty darn cheap, and I'm like, I should just buy one because this is way cheaper. But they move a limited amount of CFMs, and that's a big space. I think I can move more air building my own and just using a box fan and be a little more efficient. I don't know. Cheaper? Maybe. I don't have much into the filters and the fan. The problem is now I got to build a box, and that's going to be a project. So we'll do it. It'll be fine. But that should help clean up the glitter that's floating in the air all the dang time. I might use it more. Late to the party. How's tillage coming? She explained already. Well, we're doing all right today. We're just about done with the field here. Got to go up along the edge of the trees. It's tacky. It's borderline as to whether or not it's dry enough to be out here, but I feel like the disc is still doing a decent job. We're okay. If you guys did get a new bean planter, would it be a 60-foot, 20-inch bean planter? I want to say yes, but it's not 100% my call. I have to see what Phil thought. So right now we're pulling a 40-foot, 15-inch planter. It's a 32-row planter. If we went to a 20-inch row, 60-foot planter, it would be 36 rows. That's only 4 more rows than we're pulling now. From a maintenance standpoint, that's not that much more. From a power requirements, tractor to pull it, that's not that much more. The 8R would do it. Probably not ideal, but it would do it. And I think we could make that work, at least for a couple years until we decided to upgrade a tractor. And it would allow us to get beans planted a little bit faster. Now that said, Phil did a really good job planting beans this year. He finished a day or two after, or right about the same time that I did planting corn. And so if he can do that with a 40-foot planter, do we really need a bigger one? I don't know. But there's going to come a time when we need to get beans in the ground in a hurry, and having a 60-foot planter to do it would be an advantage. And going to 20-inch rows would be a big advantage too, right? So this year we didn't fight much white mold, but last year we did. And all those fields we had it in last year, a lot of them are going back to soybeans this year. And so I am a little bit terrified of our white mold pressure for next year. And I don't know how much 20-inch rows would help, but 20-inch rows would help. And so I don't know. I would like to see that happen, but I just have a feeling that a $400,000 bean planter is probably too much to chew off with 350 corn right now. So I don't know that that's going to happen. All right, I got to not hit their fence here, so we're going to pay attention to what I'm doing. All right. Getting it done is all that matters. Keep on keeping on. Thank you. Keep an eye on UM versus Penn State. All right, what's the score? It's not UM, but I'll let them claim it. It's fine. Is Northwestern winning yet? Somebody let me know. How about them Gators knocking off Ole Miss? That's good. We need to knock off some of these SEC teams. I hope Indiana still makes the playoff. That would be good. All right. Raven. A fair amount of things were split off when the family sold it. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can come back. No, we're not going to do that just yet. Are you hoping one day for the boys might have to move to Berkey and take over that part of the farm and help out on the rest? No, I'm not hoping for that. We don't have enough at Berkey. I mean, you could put one person down there, but it's not efficient to run that separate by itself. It doesn't make any sense. We did that before my uncle died, you know, before we started going down there, and he would come up and help us some, but that operation down there has little opportunity to grow and expand. We do here if we wanted to. There was a point in time when I thought maybe I needed to move to Berkey and just manage all that and run it, but no, I don't think so. I think we're set up pretty well the way we do it now. It's really hard to do anything by yourself, you know, not having rides to move from field to field and help when you're shelling corn to dumping trucks or whatever else, or a grain cart operator. So it's better if we keep everybody working together and just go down there and get it done in a few days and come back or whatever. Would you trial some 30-inch beans in those fields to see how pressure differs? Yeah, I fully intend to do a bunch of 30-inch row beans next year with the corn planter. That said, I intended to do some this year and it didn't happen because of the weather. So it just depends on weather conditions and what things are like when we're trying to plant. Obviously, we've got to get the corn planted timely too. But I think getting the beans planted quicker is probably more beneficial than getting the corn planted quicker. So I don't know how that's all going to work. But yeah, I can't say that we would take a field and put different row spacings in the same field. It's just too hard logistically to get that done. And so we plant, you know, I'll plant some with the corn planter, but they'll be 30-inch rows. We'll plant some with the bean planter, but they'll be 15-inch rows or 20 if we happen to upgrade the planter or do something different. But to say we're going to have some in both in the same field, probably not. You're doing the bean delivery business next year. You're contracted for a time period to do it. I am doing that again next year. All the warehousing and stuff that we did last year. Yes, we're doing that. We haven't started taking any beans in yet. It's not really like a 5-year period or anything like that. Bouncing all over the place. It's a year-to-year deal, but we have renewed the contract for next year. So yeah, it worked out really well for me last year. I think it'll be good going ahead in the future. I know what to expect now. The changes that I've made on my side of the seed business are going to make that a whole lot easier. I confirmed this the other day where last year it was very important that my seed and the warehouse seed were kept separate, right? I could not put them in the same piles. They had to be, mine was on one side of the warehouse, his was on the other side of the warehouse. Don't mix them up. I don't have to do that anymore. Him and I are selling under the same system, this GHX system. And so the seed gets treated the same. and I can put all of the same varieties in the same pile, and then when I'm going to deliver to my customer, I pull from that pile. When I'm going to deliver to his customer, we pull from that pile, and we don't have to worry about keeping them separate, and that makes it so much nicer. So I'm happy for that. All right, one more set of endros here. These are the wet endros. There's a little spot with some water. It'll be okay. We won't get stuck. It's not gonna look real pretty, but it'll be okay. But then we're done with this field. I got a hand drive along the edge again. Lemkin tillage equipment. Okay. What's up from Southeast Alabama? Hello. Can you give us notice when you do a live? I really enjoy these chats. I cannot. Like I gave you a half an hour notice today. That's about the best I can do because I don't ever know when I'm going to do it. And so I didn't know if I was going to be in a tractor today or not. So I couldn't say it in yesterday's video that, hey, I'm going to do a live stream today at this time because I may or may not even be in a tractor. And then I don't know, what else is going on, what field I'm going to be in, if we're going to have an opportunity to do it, what time it's going to work best. It gets dark early now, so I feel like I got to do them before it gets dark or you can't see anything. It's really hard for me to schedule these. I try the best that I can to post it and give as much notice as possible. The best thing I can tell you is to make sure you have your notifications turned on and that little bell icon turned on for my videos. And that should give you a notification when I do go live. Ten to 10 Penn State. 10-6 at halftime. Bummer. Come on, Northwestern. Good evening. No, that's not what I want. Exit. All messages. There we go. Oh, we are live. Okay, cool. Switch back for a minute. All right, well, this is another 100-acre piece knocked out. I should probably film something for tomorrow's video. You guys are, they're holding up my camera though. I can't do much. Oh, I got an iPad. I'll use my iPad. You guys can see the magic here in just a second. Yep, a little wet right there. Fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. iPad. This is going to be weird. Camera. There it is. Whoa. Okay. Video. All right. Well, this is weird. Filming this one on the iPad because I'm currently live over there on Facebook or on YouTube. That's YouTube. You guys are on YouTube, right? Yeah. Anyway, we are just finishing up this field. I am way too far in. Sorry. Don't know how to change that. There we go. That's a little better. Anyway, we're finishing up some endros here. Got this 100 acres done where we ran the X9, and we are going to pull out of here, head down the road. We've got that 75 acres we're going to get to. Probably going to be dark the next time I talk to you because, well, we're finishing up over there. So, anyway, there's that. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. It's really weird on this giant screen. Like huge. Where's the camera? It's over there. Over there's the camera. Hi. Yeah, it looks weird on the iPad. See? It looks weird. Now I have to remember to get those video clips off of the iPad. Otherwise they won't make tomorrow's video. Okay, where are we at? They ever thought about updating the lights on the 8430 to LED? Not really. We don't use the 8430 enough to justify it. I have thought about, number one, updating the lights on the combine because they're not that great, and it's unbelievable that we have a combine that's only 3 or 4 years old that does not have all LED lights on it. But that was a change they made the next model year after we got ours. Whatever. All right, we're gonna mud the crap out of the road here. We gotta get folded up. So I thought about that, and then on the 8R, when you flip the lights on at night, it kind of surges too much power draw and can cause issues with the computers on the tractor. I thought about switching those to LED too, and we use that one at night a lot more, so we might do that. You're gonna work on the drone licensing since harvest is over? Yeah, that's gonna have to happen real fast, so we're gonna get there. Plan on doing a harvest roundup on yields and what went well, what didn't. Trials make any difference? Yeah, we'll do a trials results video. Go through a lot of that stuff here at some point. It's one of those fillers on a slow day type of thing, but I have to have enough time to actually film it, so we will do that at some point here. Car coming down the road, and then we're going to pull out and head to the next field. What time is it? 5 o'clock? It's almost dark. 5 o'clock. Oh, he's turning. Okay. You guys are going to have to ride up there. Is there a question I can talk about for a mile's drive? Front wheel assist sure makes this job nice. Yes, it does. Would you do side-by-side testing of 15-inch, 30-inch beans, see the difference in mold pressure? That's really hard for me to do, so probably not. All right. I don't see any more questions. There might be some, though. Ooh. Turn our flashers on. Try and stay on the side so at least half the mud is in the grass. Can't put you where you can see. Sorry. What are your ideas or plans for your commodity fertilizer building? Yeah, we can talk about that. So, the idea is to put up something like a 40 by 60, 30 by 60 open front shed. Most likely with a monoslope, or at least close to a monoslope. The idea is that we would have two 30-foot bays, kind of put a post right in the center on the open 60-foot side that you could then divide into two 30s, and if you wanted to, you can use some concrete block to divide that further into like 15-foot wide bays, and then we can dump as much fertilizer as we needed to in there, pile it in, and when we don't have fertilizer in, we can back our tillage equipment into it. The disc, the field cultivator, the disc ripper, all of that kind of stuff, and it would give us some inside storage for some of the equipment that sits outside all the time. So it would be dual purpose. The big question right now for us is what type of a building do we put up? We really like our K buildings. That's what my seed warehouse is and what our big barn in the back is. But it has steel trusses. And would steel trusses in a fertilizer barn be a terrible idea? I don't know. Could be. But I don't know. We would likely put it on at least a 4-foot tall concrete wall so that the fertilizer would never really be directly in contact with any of the steel. But you're going to get dust. You're going to get moisture. It's going to happen. How big of a deal is that? I don't really know. Maybe you guys can tell me. Or do I try and find somebody that can do a wood post frame building? But I don't even know who to talk to about that. Like I wouldn't even know where to go to get a quote on a post frame building like that. And then you have the issue with the nice thing with our K buildings is that the steel trusses are all sloped, so your inside of your ceiling gets higher. So the peak of the monoslope or the tie side would be taller on the inside as well as the outside. If I went with a wood frame building, would it have to be a truss that's going to be a flat ceiling inside, and we give up that height. And that height is important, especially if we want to try and dump semi-trailers at least close to being in that building. And I don't know the answer to that. So that's something that we're considering right now, trying to figure out. It's already pitch dark here in Mass. Oh yeah? Well, you're on the eastern edge of the time zone. I'm on the western edge of the time zone. So it's not pitch black here yet, but it is getting dark on us. I got about a half hour probably before it's dark. To our field. Unfold the disc, get lined up here. Shut our flashers off. Tell it what field we're in. Okay. Now we need an AB line. I'm just going to call it line 1 because we're going on an angle. This isn't a line we'll ever use again. Set A, start driving. Driving in that direction. Set B, accept. Turn the auto steer on. Resume. Well, that's a pretty steep angle. That'll be fine. Alright, there we go. Okay, let's hit our lights. Don't really need them quite yet, but we might as well turn them on. And bright lights. There we go. Okay. 65 acres. 64 in this field. And we'll get this one done. It'll probably take us about 3 hours here. And then we got a little 9-acre piece on the other side of the ditch down on that end of the field. So 5, we should be done here, about 9 o'clock or so. That would be my guess. We get this one done today. We're down to 2 fields that can be done tomorrow. And we will get this done before it rains. So that's the goal. All right, let's get you back in your spots and see what else we got to talk about. 17 to 10, Minnesota. Well, that's not good. We need Penn State to win that one. 17 to 6, Northwestern Blues. That's not good either. Shop for bins for fertilizer. Your thoughts? Shop bins for fert. I'm not putting fertilizer in bins. We had thought about that at one point, but I hear you can have issues with it getting moist and bridging up and not coming out, which that doesn't seem like it should be that big of an issue, but apparently it is. But they're single use at that point. You can't use them for storing equipment in and other stuff. Where we put up a building, we at least can use it for other things. Willing to talk about YouTube. I mean, we're talking about it. We put a lot of thought and time into YouTube. We appreciate it. Does YouTube compensate you fairly? One time they were screwing you over. Yeah, that was like 4 years ago now. 5 years ago. It's been a while since that happened. So, yeah, I'm not going to give you any exact numbers on what YouTube pays me, but it's worth the time and effort that I put into it. You're right, I do put in a lot of effort, but I also put a lot of content out there. And I don't know. I feel like it's okay. There's months when things are a little bit slow, but it's got more to do with the content and the views not being there than it does about not getting paid from YouTube. I know everybody hates election ads, but gosh dang, election ads pay well. Things fluctuate by month, and obviously when we're busy, things are better, right? YouTube videos are better. I make more videos. I get more views, all of that kind of stuff. But October is by far the best month of the year for me. And again, that's because I make multiple videos, or more videos, because we do a lot of weekend videos. And we do a lot of live streams. And when it happens to fall on an election year, like last year, or 2 years ago, or like this year or 2 years ago, the ads cost more. And so I do really, really well. So October this year was the best month I ever had on YouTube. October 2 months ago was the second best month I've ever had by a wide margin. Third place would be a wide margin back. So yeah, it's worth it. I'll leave it there. I don't have a lot of non-YouTube social media money, if that makes sense. Like, I get a tiny little bit from Facebook, Instagram, Meta, and a teeny tiny little bit from Amazon, which, all right, let's talk about this before I move on. But I don't have a lot of sponsorships that are, direct sponsorships and stuff. AgriPro Wheat comes to mind. And then there's been a couple things like the Boss Fuel trailer and stuff, but that wasn't actually a check to me. They never paid me. They just let me use their fuel trailer and then sold it to me at a discount, but I still paid them. So I don't get a lot outside of that. A lot of the bigger YouTubers are getting a lot of money from sponsorships outside of the actual YouTube check, and the YouTube check is pretty good when you get a lot of subscribers or a lot of views. So that helps. However, one thing I get asked a lot is how you guys can support the channel and stuff, and obviously there's the merchandise stuff, and just watching the videos is huge. But if you notice in the description of all of my videos, there's an Amazon link, and sometimes people click on that and they're like, this doesn't go anywhere, it just takes you to a generic Amazon page. True, but do you know what happens when you click on that link? Anytime you click on my Amazon link, any purchase that you make in the next 24 hours on Amazon, they write me a check for, or they give me a commission on. So while I'm not like pushing a ton of products, occasionally when I'm using stuff, some of the washing products and polishing stuff we use in the winter and the shop work and things that I buy on Amazon, I'll post the direct links to those pages, and obviously there's an Amazon affiliate kickback for me for doing that. But I get a kickback on anything that you buy within 24 hours of clicking on my link, assuming you don't click on somebody else's link in that time. So as you guys are doing your holiday shopping here, it supports me if you just go to my videos, click on the Amazon link in my description, and go buy anything you want to buy on Amazon. I appreciate that. I mean, we're talking about, like right now, without really pushing anything, I get $10 a month, maybe $12 a month. It's nothing. But if people did do more of that, that would be significant. All right. Brian has a tent. Yeah, the fertilizer barn is a hoop barn. We're not going to do that. That will not be something that we do. How are you liking your straight blades on your Landau? They do a good job. We had these on when it was new. They're the original Landau blades, or the original style. We tried those wavy ones, or the serrated ones. The first time we rebladed it, they were fine. I don't know that they were any better, and I didn't think they wore quite as good as the original, so we went back to these when we put the third set of blades on. This was on its third set of blades since we bought it new, so yeah, they were good. Undercoating, that's what I'm thinking of, although it would probably cost more than spray foaming the seedler house. Yeah, we're not doing that. Not to the steel. It's just the trusses that would be an issue, really. So we're not gonna do that. Ready for a Wolverines win next week. It is 5:14 and Michigan still sucks. OH. I would do one of those buildings that looks like an airplane hangar, all galvanized, no beams in it. Okay? When you do your end of year financials to see if the year was good and bad, when do you do that? Not asking for numbers, just when do you know if it was good and bad? Well, I mean, we know what kind of yields we had. The problem, how do you figure that, right? That comes back to a procedures question, because for the year, the tax year, the fiscal year, I mean, we've got a pretty good idea where we're going to fall for this year, and that's known. The problem is a crop year, and how we did based on an accrual system of the crop year is totally different. And we won't know that for a long time yet, because it's really a 3-year period that you have to figure for figuring out how you do in any given crop year. Because we're starting to pay expenses for 2025 now in 2024. Next year, obviously, we will be selling a lot of the 24 crop, not the 25 crop, stuff in the bins, so you can't really count that into that crop year, but we'll sell a lot of the 25 crop in the fall and we'll have more expenses for it. But we really won't have all the income from the 25 crop until mid-summer of 2026. And so to say, you know, how this year is going to shake out, the 2024 crop year, we won't know until the middle of summer when we're done selling the grain how we actually came out. But we've got a pretty good idea, and we know what our yields are, and we can make some projections as far as what the grain's going to be worth or is worth now, and what our contracts are. And I guess at this point we have figured out what our 2023 crop did for us, so there's that. But a lot of it is, how are we doing at this point compared to where we were last year? What bills have we paid this year that we didn't have paid last year? Or what bills do we not have paid this year that we did at this time last year? What is our projections as far as seed cost versus a year ago? What about fertilizer cost, fuel costs, all of those different things? And so it's really complicated to answer that question of when do you know how good the year was or how bad the year was. Obviously, harvest is important, and the fact that we know we had pretty decent yields leads well or bodes well to the fact that we're probably going to be okay for the 2024 crop year. We're also sitting pretty good for the 2024 fiscal year because 23 was a decent year, and I mean we had a lot of grain that we sold back in the spring. What next year brings, nobody knows, and the grain prices being cheap aren't helping that. Great equipment from us. Love this tractor and disc. Great, thanks. Are you about done with fall tillage? Yes, we are about done with fall tillage. We should finish the disc and corn stalks tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow. After I get this field done, or these 2 fields that we just started into here, we'll be down to a 90-acre piece a half mile down the road here, and then an 86-acre piece 5 miles south of the farm, 5 south and west. So we're close on that. Should be able to get it done no problem tomorrow. But we do have church in the morning, and it'll be a little bit of a later start. I've got another Thanksgiving party reunion thing I got to go to tomorrow after church, but should be back by 2 or 2:30. So hopefully Phil jumps in here and gets the one field done before I get back. And then we will see if we can get it done tomorrow. That'd be great if we can. As far as the heavy tillage goes, Dad should be right about now or soon finishing up the fall tillage, the disc ripping here at Waldron. I don't see the tractor over there in the field. That means he's either done or I don't know. I just can't see it. But we got to get to Berkey yet. We've got about 280 acres to run the disc ripper over in Berkey. It's not going to happen before it rains on Monday. I don't know when we'll get to it, but we should still get it done. Michigan up 17-6 at halftime. Bummer. Does Golden Harvest own their own seed traits, or do they buy them from companies like Bayer Corteva? We've had really good luck with DeKalb Pioneer products here in Western Indiana. Yeah, so Syngenta, that owns Golden Harvest, has their own trait platform. The AgriSure traits are all owned by Syngenta and what we use in Golden Harvest products. So that would be Duracade, AgriSure Duracade would be the rootworm trait. There's an AgriSure RW, that's the 2 traits. There's AgriSure Corn Borer, CB, AgriSure GT, AgriSure Viptera, AgriSure Artesian, that's a native trait, it's not a GMO trait. But yeah, so we do own our own, and they're really good traits. Duracade is a great rootworm trait. Viptera is an awesome trait for corn earworm, western bean cutworm. Not something that's a major pest, I guess. But for guys that are concerned about grain quality, feed quality, trying to keep disease out of their corn, keeping the vomitoxin out. That Viptera trait is very valuable. This orange light is going to make me look terrible here, I think. We'll see. This one is on the wrong side of the cab. That doesn't really help. I might have to move you to the other window. Love your channel. Looking forward to the irrigator getting a good start next year. Thank you. Yeah. Talk to Brian's Farms about their fertilizer. I've talked to him. I know exactly what he has. We're not interested in a hoop barn or a Quonset hut. Yeah, we're not doing a plastic tarped barn. Not gonna happen. Would epoxy coated steel for fertilizer building do enough to protect the exposure and rust? I really don't know. The new spreader, thoughts on using more urea for your end? Thoughts about experimenting with it in the spring. We'll see. I'm not a huge fan of urea, but we might use some. I don't like the idea of doing that for 100% of our nitrogen needs. I do like the idea of putting 100 pounds of N out with urea and AMS so I can get sulfur needs in the spring, and I can lessen the nitrogen on the planter so I don't have to carry as much starter around, and I can lower the amount of side dress nitrogen that we need, making my anhydrous tanks go farther and that process go faster. But it adds another application and a step, and really with urea or with spring nitrogen, you kind of have to double spread it if you're going to use a spinner box. Anytime our retailers do any of that, they double spread and they split their pattern so they're offset by half the spreader width so you don't get streaking in the corn or in the crop. And I would be very concerned about that if I was going to be spreading urea. And it would have to get worked in. I would not spread it and leave it sit on top of the ground. It would be something that I would want to do and do it before we run the field cultivator, work it in, then go and plant. All right, we're going to try this. Oh yeah, that's better. Would you go watch the US F1 race if it was the Waldron Grand Prix instead of Las Vegas? I mean, probably. I'm not a huge racing fan. Probably more of a NASCAR fan than anything else if I was going to pick one. Been to a few races up at MIS, the racetrack up there, but I mean, if it was close, it'd be cool to see, I suppose. What was your favorite part of harvest this year, the X9 demo? I mean, that was a pretty awesome day, getting to run that combine. So yeah, that was cool. I would say probably my favorite part though was the surprise in our soybean yields. I love the fact that my March planted beans were our best beans. Not only because agronomically that's a huge win for me, it proves that what I've been trying to do is working and that we can push the limits beyond anything that we had previously thought possible. But I also got to prove a lot of haters wrong with that one, and that was kind of fun for me. So that was really good. We also had more really good corn than I anticipated. I mean, we had probably 5 fields that averaged above 230, and that's never happened before. So yeah, that was really good. How's your tile work going? Pretty good. They've been down there working on it the last few days, kind of working around the weather a little bit. Last I saw, they were about half done with the field. We'll try and get over there sometime or throw the drone up when they are done so you guys can see it a little bit better. In the spring, what tractor are you guys going to put on the spreader? Well, it'll probably be the 8430. Just depends on how much spring spreading we're going to do and when it's going to get done. Because the 8R is the bean planting tractor, the 8RX is the corn planting tractor, and the 9R can do a lot of the tillage. The 8430 usually is on the disc. It'll probably still be on the disc. That might be part of the issue, is we don't have the tractor to pull that spreader. I don't think the 7520 will pull the spreader. Probably would if we didn't fill it real full. But it's not a real good match. So, I don't know. Out disking. Yep, we're out disking. We're almost an hour and a half into this one. Probably should wrap it up pretty soon, but we'll see. I gotta turn. 1, 2, 3. Short passes here. We're finishing on our first wedge. Spreading manure. Nope, we're disking. Not spreading manure. Did you hook the trailer that you pulled behind the planter to the sprayer? No. There's no hitch on the sprayer. And that'd be a bad idea anyway. Are you going to plant a lot of March beans again next year? Well, given how well it worked for me this year, I will certainly plant March beans next year if the opportunity arises. But that doesn't happen very often. You guys will remember, maybe, that we planted some March beans back in 2021. They worked. They made 70. They lived. They were good beans. The problem was in 22 and 23, we never dried out to the point where I thought I could plant March beans. Didn't get the opportunity. And so we didn't. And then this year we finally did again. And it worked. They were awesome. So given the opportunity, yeah, we'll do it. I would consider doing a couple hundred acres the next time. But I don't know that I will get the opportunity in March next year, weather-wise, if the ground conditions will allow it. So, totally weather dependent. One thing I will say is some year that's going to bite me. It hasn't happened yet, but some year planting beans in March is not going to work. We're going to get a frost. They're going to die. We're going to have to replant them. It's okay. But I will keep pushing that boundary, yes. Will there be a time when the early beans will become the normal beans and the normal beans will become the late beans? I don't know about that extreme, but I think we will get to the point where anything planted after the first week of May is considered late. Yeah. And the flip side of, this year we planted in March and then we didn't start again until May, again, because of the weather. But it'll also gives me a lot of confidence to say, it's the 10th of April and its ground conditions are good. We should be planting beans. Well, that's too early. It's too early. No, it's not. Like, that's a full more go on the 10th of April. So that's more likely. What you'll see instead of March beans is more early April planted beans. But again, it's all weather dependent. You cannot plant into wet soils. You can plant into cold soils all day. But wet is a no-go. Tractor you're disking with. This is the 8430. Got to run on 599R. I think can strip some ground. That's cool. We got to run that that 9RX last year. That was pretty cool tractor to run too. Been doing for them about 5 years here in Kentucky. Never been sorry. Yeah, well, Kentucky's a lot farther south than here, so you don't have frost risk quite like I do. Should try sometime in your irrigated field. The early planted beans, yeah. There's almost more risk with that, but we'll see. That's sandy enough farm that we might be able to get on it more times, but there's varied soil types as well. That's part of the problem, is that one has a lot of different soil types. So while it does have the sandy ground that we could get on early, it's also got some clay ground that needs a little more time to dry out. So we'll see. We'll keep trying those. And we will get beans up there in the irrigated field pretty soon. The thing about being up there is that if we had a crusting situation, I can turn the irrigation on, put some water on, soften the ground up, and it might help us establish the stand a little bit better. So I love old 30 series from John Deere. Yeah, I'm not sure this tractor would be the one to leave when we decide to upgrade tractors, but it's the one I would get rid of if it was up to me. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just not as nice of a cab. It doesn't have the technology that the newer ones do. It's not as functional for us. I don't know. But Dad likes the power shift transmission for some of the things he uses a tractor for. And if we bought a different one to replace it, it's going to be on tracks. tracks don't work in every situation, so I don't know. This one would probably stick around. Plus, I really like the 8R. I love that tractor. It is so smooth, comfortable, and just, it's my favorite. Alright. There's even been some guys try them in February with good results. I know of a guy up here that planted some beans in February. I haven't heard any results as far as yields or anything like that, but they lived, so that's pushing it. I don't know if that would work for us or not, but it's been done. Fort Wayne area, not that far. Super muddy. Got all of October rain this week. Oh, yeah. We haven't actually gotten that much rain. I'd have to look up the total for the month of November. But like the other day, what was it, Wednesday, we got some rain, but it was 2/10. So you give it a couple of days and it soaks in, and it's not bad. I mean, it's not great out here, but it's doable. We're fine. All right, guys, I think we will go ahead and wrap this one up here pretty quick. Thanks for hanging out. Hour and a half into it. We'll get turned around here, read those last couple questions. Call it a night for you guys. Oh yeah, I gotta stay over here. All right. Are you a Lions fan? I don't, not really. I don't mind. I actually am more of a Packers fan, but I really don't follow much NFL football. My brother-in-laws are big Lions fans, though. My wife and I play a game. When you mention double crop beans, she has to kiss me. Double crop beans, man. Double crop beans. Wasn't expecting the live stream. Just got here from Richmond, Indiana. Been wet here. Sorry, Larry. We're just about done with it, though. Thanks for joining. Farmer friend of my boss and me have a 8530. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching this one. Like I said, we're going to try and wrap up the disc and tillage tomorrow. There is going to be a video tomorrow morning. There will probably be another one on Monday from tomorrow, but we'll see how much I do versus what Phil does or anybody else. And then we'll see where we're at with the ripper and stuff. It is about time to get some more equipment cleaned up. We need to start focusing on that a little bit more. So those videos are coming. It's supposed to get really cold the end of the week, and we got Thanksgiving next week, so that'll slow things down a little bit. Oh, dang it. Before we go, I forgot I was going to ask you guys this earlier. So I have been tasked with cooking for Thanksgiving, and we're not doing Thanksgiving dinner with my family until Friday, but I'm cooking a turkey, probably going to smoke it. However, on Thanksgiving night, all of everybody's going to be here, and I have volunteered to cook a brisket. Do any of you guys want to actually watch this process? It would be way, way off the beaten path of what my normal content is. You know, it's not a farming video at all, but I do enjoy doing a little smoking on the grill and some cooking stuff. Would you guys want to see that? If I could figure out a way to film it, is that something you would watch? Double click the thumbs up button. Thank you. Please do that. Does double click help you monetarily? No, it does not. I don't get anything from you clicking that button. What that does is tell YouTube that, hey, people like this video, we should show it to more people so more people watch it. That's what clicking the thumbs up button does. Same thing with subscribing. Doesn't give me any money when you subscribe. It makes you watch my videos more. It helps you find them so that people watch them. What I need is views. More people to watch it, the more likes and comments that I get on a video, the more YouTube is going to recommend it to people in their For You or their watch page or whatever, and the more people will see it, the more people watch it, the more money I make on it. So that's how it helps me. Alright, now where are we at with this? Are you guys going to use the spreader to spread your cover crop this spring, or use your gator spreader? Well, we won't be doing any clover in the wheat this year because of the herbicide we put on this fall. So the big spreader would be too big to do the clover seed anyway. That wouldn't work. But no, we're not even going to be doing any clover. We may do some cover crops after the wheat, but that'll be determined next fall or summer. So imported from South Indiana farm, imported from France. I would watch. Sure, go for it. Yes, on the grill. I'll watch all your videos. I'd watch. Yes, I'd watch. Okay. Cooking with Lisa and Nathan. Yep. They can watch. I will eat. There you go. All right. Thanks, Mom. Okay, guys. We'll maybe do that. But look for a video tomorrow from today. Have a great night. Thank you. We'll see you later.